Okay, what I wanted to do today was explain the new features within the chart designer, in particular the wheel wizard. And the way to do that, reach it, is to click this manila folder. It's on the same page as the wheels tab in the chart designer. By clicking that, you'll bring up the wheel wizard. Basically, the splitter here will do the same thing clicking on that, but this is the way to go back and forth from it. There's more detailed help, and the wizard help brings up the help menu, but the basic idea with these wheels is there is an inner ring radius and an outer ring radius for each wheel. And in this, if we're looking at, say, the decans out here on the outer edge, there is this line that is drawn on the outside and then on the inside that defines the decan wheel. And if we go into that, we see that it's pretty far out, 0.99 and 0.955. Now, the values go between 0 and 1. 0 would be the center, and 1 would be the outer extreme. So it's tedious to assign these by hand. You could go through each one and do that. That's what I used to do in the past. But the purpose of the wheel wizard is so that you don't have to do that anymore. And what you do here is just select which wheels you want visible from these two lists. In this case, I've got shown the decan wheel, sine wheel, bound wheel, and all the planet wheels. Planet wheels comprise everything that's inside from the house wheel into the number and aspect wheel. So they always have to be drawn together, but you can, say, draw the bound wheel on the inside of the planet wheels, even the decan wheel. And if I was to go click next and just click apply changes, I've just changed the order, and you see how it looks on the screen. But you can do any one of these, but you can also change the thicknesses once you get in there. So if I go in here, notice that the total here on the top left is 0.99. That means it goes all the way out to almost the edge. And each one of these is a wheel, and if there's a tick mark on the right, it means it's not visible, so it's being left out of the calculation. These numbers on the right, the above number on each line here is the outer ring radius, and the inside one is the inner ring radius, and they correspond to which you will see in here in the sine wheel. And you see 0.9 and 0.955. So if you go back, you'll see that as part of this. In this case, I've made some changes here. So if I click apply changes, or if I click this and go back, it will show the wheel. And then if what you got here, and then you go here and you show that again, it'll go back to the beginning. I'll just minimize that, and the sine wheel will show the update here. It goes from 0.9 to 0.89. So we go back and say we want to change certain properties that are associated with the thickness of various wheels. Say we may want to make the sine wheel thicker, we make it up to 0.2. We just drag it like that. Okay, and then I have to make sure that it stays below 1, otherwise it won't draw. If I try to click apply changes, it'll give you a little information there that you're not supposed to go above 1, because that would draw outside of the image. So we reduce it by a certain amount, make sure it's below 1, and click apply changes. Now we have a smaller wheel, but the sine wheel is 2/10 of the width of the entire radius. So you see how that adjusts. Notice it also adjusts the sine glyphs automatically. Now this happens because there is a property in the fonts that says Autosize Font is true. Now if it was set to false, you'd have to manually set all these different wheels, all these different font sizes here that are present. The sign font size is 25. So anyway, if we go back, well, I think it's higher than that, but it hasn't updated yet. It's one of the reasons why you want to make sure that you change the wheel, and then it updates the values as you go in. So it's up to 50 here, you notice, because we applied those changes. Now, there is another property here. Notice that the glyphs are white in the decan and bound wheel. Let's put those back on the outside so we can see them a little better. Okay, decan wheel. And planet wheel, sign wheel will go next. Apply changes. Alright, I think I'll go back to 1/10 here. Okay, and I'll bring this up to a little bit higher. And then let's go up to about 0.45 here. And click Apply Changes. Okay, now we're kind of back in the same range of where we were before. Let's make the bound and decan wheels a little bit thicker here. So I go up to 0.4. And same thing here. Click Apply Changes. Notice a little bit thicker and automatically adjust the glyphs. Now it's using the background color. You could switch this to the foreground color by going back to the wheels here. There's a property called, let's get down to down wheel here. It's a color style, and it's using color style background. That's what the CS stands for. And you just switch it to foreground on the bound wheel and on the decan wheel, which is on the inside. And click Apply. And next time we try to draw a chart by double clicking, it'll use the foreground color, which is black here, versus the background color being white. So this is something you want to keep in mind with this when you're using the wizard. Sometimes that's the only cross reference between. I like to keep these separate if at all possible, but the wheels do have a way of taking charge of some other aspects of the line drawing and so on. So I did have to put in colors into that to manage some of the properties to get maximum flexibility. Otherwise I would have had a lot of problems. Now there's another little trick here, especially if you're changing between styles, which is up here in the GUI styles here if you wanted to switch. If you want to match colors in your chart wheels to say what's up in the control bar area up where the toolbars are, then a way to do that is to get a screenshot by pressing F7, which I just did. It'll bring up, you don't need to bother with the save dialog, but here it brings up a screenshot of what you just had. All you have to do is hold your mouse over an area that you want to have as like your color, and you right click it, and then it'll copy it to the clipboard. And now in order to get that color into some other field, say you wanted to use it as, well, we'll go up to here, let's say you wanted to use it as a background color, you just hold down Shift and then right click, and then and the same thing here, you just go back like that, and that will bring it all back. I don't want to do that, so I'll double click the themes, bring it back to where it was before. But that's a trick that I haven't really documented very well. I think it's in the bottom of the help file. I might have put it in, I don't remember if I did or not, but it might be in here exactly how to do it. Yeah, I don't know if I put that in there, but there is color adjustments available. So that is one of the more important things. You can get rid of that menu by showing or hiding the screen tab, and then go back. So anyway, there is another thing too to keep in mind when dealing with a wheel wizard. If we go in next here, other than selecting which wheels to show and in what order, because this will reflect the order in which the wheels are drawn, there are these check boxes that are down here, and that will allow you to hide or show some planet wheels and so on. Now, you might wonder why I want planet wheel 1 hidden. Well, there's an option. You can show it if you want, but if you show planets, let's say I made the sine wheel really thick. Let's make it up to like 0.3, and you'll probably recognize this because I did this in some of the other themes. We'll just bring this weight down so that it comes down to, well, not that far. So the idea here is to get, fairly high number there. So you click Apply Changes. Okay, now this, if I wanted to show stars and planets in the wheel, I'm already hiding the planet wheel, so you can't even see the person's, inner planets or whatever. What you can do is go into the wheels again, and in the sine wheel, there's a property called Show Stars, and one for Showing Planets. And you just double click those, click Apply, and double click, and that's what will show up. And the planets will be showing in the sine wheel itself. So that's one of the reasons why I put that in there, so that you don't have the duplication. However, if you wanted to, you could show it like that. And then, of course, because we added the extra wheel, we got some space we got to get rid of. Either we got to shrink the sine wheel to some degree, or some combination of that and the aspect wheel, in order to get it back down to within range to where it can be shown. And then we click Apply Changes. And see, we got now duplication. The moon is where the moon glyph is, and so on. So anyway, that's a general overview of how to work with the chart designer. Thank you.